All right, hello, folks. What is going on? What is going on? Why is my camera stuck? Hmm. No, my chair is not empty. Hey, Veganese. Oh, there we are. What is going on? Let's try this. Seems my camera is stuck. Nope, nope, it's on my end. Actually, it's on StreamYard's end. Let's see. Ah, always tough getting back into it. Uh, so I'm not sure why StreamYard is having issues. Let's go check out something. Nope, it doesn't like my camera. Um, hmm. Let's see if I switch cameras. All right, I'm gonna have to restart because something's not working. I'll be back. Well, I don't know what's going on. Everything is fine on my end, but StreamYard is not happy at all. Uh, no, I have not paid my StreamYard bill, but I'm good through November. And when I will be canceling it, because this is not the first time I've had issues. Plus, they doubled their rates. Boy, this really sucks. It is saying my connection is unstable, and I insist that no, it's not. Uh, Let me try this. All right. So I switched to Chrome. That seems to be working better. I don't know what's wrong with the other browser. Uh, all right. Hey, everyone. That's what happens when you, it's like trying to go out for a run when you haven't run in a while. Everything is like, oh, that hurts. That's not working right. What's going on? This is terrible. Um, so, hey, everyone. Now you can actually see me matching, and my voice will match what you see on the camera. Hey, Sweetie. Nice to see you. Lexlers. Knees hurt at the thought. Yeah. I had trained for a half marathon, and unfortunately, the half marathon was taking place at the height of the hot weather here in the Bay Area when it would basically hit 100. And it's like, it's not like running a half marathon is enjoyable throughout. Um, but I do like running. I just don't like running in like 80, 90-degree weather. That is not good, not fun. That's just miserable. And so I didn't sign up for miserable. Yes, facial hair. Um, so hey folks, so it has been a while. Uh, um, the stream today is basically mostly like just getting stuff to work, uh, um, getting stuff back in order, getting used to streaming again. Um, so there, so today's mostly like almost chat-like stuff. I realized I don't have my Twitch window open. That's not good. Hold on. And so all the things that like you have smooth when you've been doing something for a while. It's all over the place. It's like, where the heck is that button? What is that thing? Um, and so yeah, so it's more of a bit of a hangout. There is one thing that I need to do, which is Java 1 is coming back. So if you're not familiar with the Java 1 conference, that was one of the big conferences back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Slowly trailed off in like the the 20 teens, and then was combined with like the Oracle stuff in Las Vegas. But in 2025, it is coming back to the San Francisco Bay Area. In fact, um, it's coming back to Redwood Shores, which is literally where I run past every day when I go running. So it's like 2 miles away from me. So that'll be really nice and very convenient. Uh, Call for papers is open and closes in like 3 hours. So as is usual, I'm gonna submit it on the last day. So that's one thing I'll be doing. Um, there's some other stuff that I'm working on, some sample code for a course that I'm working on. Uh, there's also a problem with the plugin, so I've been sort of maintaining. I've been trying to keep the presentation assistant fork compatible with recent releases. The latest EAP for the next release of IntelliJ, it's one of those, oh, our API changed, right? Because every single freaking release of IntelliJ, the API changes for plugins. And so previously, I've just been able to upgrade the version of IntelliJ that the plugin's compatible with, and it's like, oh, it works. But now I have to do a little bit more work and figure out what class is no longer found in the API and what do I replace it with. So it's sort of a miscellaneous day. Next week, I'll be getting back to in between Mets games. So in case you have not been following, in case you don't care about baseball, or in case you were not aware that I'm a baseball fan, specifically a New York Mets fan. Let's go Mets. Where's my Mets hat? Oh, I'll find it. The Mets made the next round of playoffs. So they're playing next week, sometimes in the afternoon, which would conflict with the times that I stream. But actually, it looks like a lot of the games on Wednesday and Thursday will be in the evening, so that won't my time, so it won't interfere with streaming. So next week I will be streaming back to putting my TDD game online. No, I don't remember where I left off. Well, I do kind of remember, but like it's been a while, so it'll take a little while to get back into things. And also, I will be pair streaming with Mike, depending on his availability. In terms of papers for Java 1, so I've got a few talks. One of them related to the TDD game, which is basically event sourcing using modern Java. Since it is the Java 1 conference, it's obviously very Java focused, which means that, which is great because that's what I do. But I also want it to be sort of specific to Java things that have been introduced in a language or are coming up in a language. So one is on AssertJ. So as you may know, I've given talks on AssertJ, and so pretty much be very similar talk to what I've done before. So that's one paper. What was the next one? So the other one is event sourcing with modern Java, and talk on ArcUnit, so enforcing architecture with ArcUnit. So I think those are the three papers that I'm probably going to submit. Yes, so stuff like sealed classes and records and interfaces and switch expressions that take advantage of sealed classes, things like that. Hey, Tukes, nice to see you. Yes, great to be back. So I was looking at. So let me see if I can bring this up. So Java 1. Let's see, can I share my screen? Is that going to work? Oh, let me do this first. All right, so let's do that and that. Okay. Oh, yay, nice to see you. All the folks are back. All right, so let's click the right button to present. Let's share the full screen. Oh, right, I'm using a different browser. Doo-doo-doo. Chrome, 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 Chrome. Where are you? You have access. You have access. Why do you not see that you have access? I am dreading upgrading to the most recent version of Mac OS because all the security questions that come up, it's like, hey, this is asking for access to this and to this and to this and to this. And especially the screen recording stuff, apparently it's going to ask you frequently to say, are you sure you still want to be sharing this? And so I am dreading that because a lot of the apps I use are uh, are like video recording things. All right, let's see. Is this going to let me do it? Screen share was canceled. No, it's not going to let me do it. I might have to restart Chrome. Let's see. Macintosh Vista. Yes, absolutely. It very much that's what it seems like. Um, yeah, I really question some of that stuff. All right, I will. I got to see if I can restart Chrome and see if it can start recognizing the screen because it should have access. So let's see what happens. I'll be right back. Yes, I'm supposed to be just chatting. I can't chat if I can't share the screen. Well, not exactly. All right, hold on. Let's try this. Hopefully I'll be back shortly. All right, camera's still working. Let's see if the present works now. I opened it. Okay. But you have access. Hmm. Computers suck. Software sucks. That's all I got to say. Let's all complain about software because it all sucks. Let's see. All right, let's do this. Let me open up stuff in Chrome instead. Oh, you're kidding us. All right, that's submissions, and that's track. Okay, let's see if this works. Yeah, software should be banned. It is amazing. I mean, it is amazingly profitable for software to be terrible. That is the saddest. It's just sad. Okay. Uh, oh, what? Oh, okay. I'm like, now it shows the screen. So, what's interesting is the browser, so StreamYard, because it's running in the browser, can share things that the browser owns. So it has that much permission, but it can't share anything else. But that's fine. I opened it up. So let me actually share. Let's share this window and add to stage. Hey, which do I like better? No, no, this is not a news report. Yeah, I'll go with that one. Yeah, I don't know. You see things like the CrowdStrike disaster, and you see other things, and you just maybe some fines are paid, even though it was hugely disruptive. I don't I don't know that the government is willing to do anything about it. All right. Um, Java 1 is back. So the I have to say, like, I've submitted to probably 6 or 7 conferences this past year and didn't get into any. Um, but I have to say, like, the these submission they say submission tips, but these aren't tips. These are like requirements. This is what they're asking for. Uh, it's a bit much. Like, I get it, but it's a little much. Like, uh, use present tense. Okay, fine. Um, do not use first person language is odd because it makes the language much more formal than I think it needs to be. Um, and then like the presenter stuff. Um, anyway, I was reading through these and it's like, this is a bit this is a bit of a lot. But you know, basically it's Oracle. And I've submitted stuff to uh it felt very this feels very much big corporation kind of thing. Because when I submitted to VMware the spring part of the VMware conference, it definitely had this like we're a big corporation and we need to add in lots of rules. I did get accepted to that, except then they changed it from an in-person thing to a semi-virtual thing, and I was like, forget this. So, hey, Dr. Twitcheasy. Yeah, I mean, it's the site is more nicely laid. Like, there's a certain feel to the call for paper submission that I did for the spring VMware conference, where it very much felt like this was designed in typical enterprise software fashion. This at least seems to be a bit easier. Uh, so there are 6 tracks. Um, so in terms of present tense and passive, I'm gonna have to see how this works out. So the core Java platform. is likely that's likely where my event sourcing thing is gonna go. Because it's certainly not UI client and front end. Oh, that was the other one. Okay, I'm glad I was looking through these. HTMX and Spring Boot. That might be a bit. Hopefully, it won't be too considered too Spring Boot centric because it's really about the HTMX. But that would definitely go in front end. So let me open up. Where is it? Okay. So let's go add this. All right. Dr. Twishizi asks about what is my paper on event sourcing. You didn't miss much. I basically said event sourcing using leveraging the modern Java features like sealed classes, switch, pattern matching switch expressions, record deconstruction, things like that. All right, so let's see. So tracks, core Java. So that's going to be probably the event sourcing in modern Java. Hey, Cattle, nice to see you. Yes, dude. I mean, this is my KCDC shirt from 2023. Oh, hold on. Hi there. You got any of that signature for this? Okay. Yep, right here. What's your name? Ted Joe. All right. All right. Thanks. Welcome. Always get. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, right. So weird. I ordered replacement for these headphones. These headphones are like, I don't know, 15 years old. So I got replacements and signatures required. It's like they're $40 ear cups. I don't know. Anyway. What was I doing? Oh yeah, okay. So event sourcing in modern Java. So all right, hold on. Now, one thing that I didn't see was how long are these sessions? Does it not say? Did I miss it? Because this is what happened with the Spring VMware conference. Is I submitted my talk, and then they did two things. They changed the format to be this semi-virtual in-person thing, and then they reduced the talk time to like 30 minutes. And I'm like, the 30 minutes? That's a different kind of talk than an hour kind of talk. Yeah, I mean, my guess would be an hour because that's fairly typical, but I don't. I don't I wonder if that's somewhere in the, actual submission. So let's go into this. Apparently, this will time out in a certain amount of time, but let's take a look. Content type. Ah, here we go. Wow, 45 minutes for a breakout session. I don't know how I feel about that. Um, in terms of I mean, it is what it is. So I was at the Dev to Next conference, which is sometimes called sometimes some people were calling it the Venkat, conference, because if you know Venkat Subramaniam, um, I mean, he's, like, everywhere. You look at any conference that has Java-related stuff in it, and he's there. So this was his conference in outside of Denver, Colorado. Um, and those talks were anywhere from an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. I think actually an hour and 15 minutes is, a nice amount of time if you have a very dense topic. There were some where it's like that they went short because they couldn't fill the time. Um, 45 minutes, oh, that's interesting. You can't see the drop down. Uh, let me see. Wonder if because it's that drop down is considered a separate window? So let me stop sharing and let me share just the screen. Still may not work because it may still, from a security standpoint, still may be considered a separate window. Let's see what happens. Whoop. I wonder if this is a Chrome problem. All right, hold on. Let's see. Uh, where would camera, microphone? I'm very confused. Somewhere, somebody doesn't have the right permissions to do that. This was, let's see. Uh, bottom left corner. System preferences. Oh, no, it's still back to the alright, I guess that won't work. Yeah, I'm using StreamYard, but it seems to it was having problems in Brave, which had all the permissions, which is what I've used before. Um, yeah, I know that, IntelliJ definitely the pop-ups are separate windows, and I guess in Chrome they are as well. That's interesting. Alright, well, I'll go back to sharing the window because it won't let me share the screen. Okay. Well, anyway, there's a pop-up here, and it shows two things: hands-on lab for 105 minutes, and breakout session 45 minutes. Um, you, I'm glad you trust me. So what was I saying? Right. So last week at the conference, like an hour and 15 minutes is a bit long. I mean, I could certainly fill it. I've done that, but anyway, that's what that was. So 45 minutes. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Vegan. It's like the browser owns the pop-up. So if I have permission to show the browser, why would I not have the permission to show the pop-up? Very strange. And it's not like this is um if it were, yeah, you can't see I wonder if it were a custom, like a complete from scratch, that would probably work. But they're using, I guess, the built-in drop-down. So all right. Uh, okay. So now we know how long the talk is. Um, so you can't see that either. Uh, so I've got another window open on where I'm taking notes, but you can't see it, which sucks. But it is what it is. So for the core Java track, the event sourcing, is that going to be 45 minutes? So 105 minutes, that's an hour and 45. It's not going to be a hands-on workshop. I mean, I could maybe figure something out, but I don't think I want to do that. But 45 minutes, well, I'll figure out how to squeeze it into 45 minutes if I get it accepted. So the question is of um actually let's do this. Did you know you could do docs.new? No. Yeah, I'd have to. I mean, I'd have to introduce event sourcing enough. It's one of those talks where, am I using modern Java language stuff, and that's the focus, and event sourcing happens to be a good application, or is event sourcing the focus, and I just happen to be using some Java language features that make it easier? I'm not sure, but let's do this. Can I split this out? Is that going to work? No, that won't work. That's interesting. Oh, because I'm sharing the window. Yeah. Yes, it is Oracle and it is Java 1. So I think the focus will be mostly on the language features. Yeah. All right. Uh, so This will be the 45-minute breakout session. The tricky part will be where do I store the data? So the cool thing about event sourcing is like how and where you store the events. I mean, typically you'll store it in a database. Do I want to use Spring? Store in Oracle's cloud? No. Um, I can store it in an Oracle database. Um, but really, it's like, do I use? I mean, since the data is basically JSON for events because it's pretty much like it's not that it's unstructured data, it's just that each event has a different structure. Um, I could just store it in a text file, or I could store it using just JDBC. Apache Derby. Spring does not have explicit support for event sourcing. Um, I mean, it's sort of agnostic. It provides, data access and so on. It would be interesting to create uh, some kind of something that would make it easier to do. Like there is a full blown framework like Axon, and I think it's just overkill. Um, but because among many things it provides event sourcing. Project Lagom. Uh, that rings a bell. Project Lagom. Oh, builds on akka, which is problematic. Would not surprise me if it has some. Oh, well, I guess it's end of life. Yeah, so Lightbend basically changed their licensing. Yeah, there is a fork of akka. Akka, I think, is really cool. But I'm guessing you probably don't want Lagom or lag. I assume it's Lagom. Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure if Dr. Twitcheasy, if it would be a layer on top of. It would be sort of alongside because you don't you like need nothing that JPA gives you. This has been my bugaboo. My big pet peeve is everybody using JPA when they don't actually know what it's doing underneath, because if they did, they would be like, oh my god, I don't need all that complexity and overhead, and they should really just use Spring Data JDBC. Um, but event sourcing needs actually so much less because you never modify data that's already in the database. So you don't you still have to worry about conflicts, but not in the same way. Yeah, I as much as I like the idea of the actor platform stuff, the virtual threads. So one of the best talks of the conference last week was Jose Parmod, who from Oracle, who did a talk on is reactive dead. Um, the short answer being yes, because you just use virtual threads, and then you just do your normal stuff. And then when it blocks, then some other thread will be running. So I think a lot of I think reactive for sure is like you would never, if you're starting now, you would not use reactive because what would be the point? Uh, Certainly, if you've got legacy stuff, you probably want to move away from it. But if you're starting and you can start with Java 21, why would you use the horrible programming reactive stuff? All right, so that's that. Why is this also small? I don't like Arial. Let's do something else. Puppets. There we go. What's the other? Okay, so HTMX. Yeah, don't share mutable state. Avoid contention for mutable state. Yeah. So HTMX, so that's going to go in the what track was it? This track. Oops. So the question for that talk is, what framework do I use? Because I got to use a framework. I mean, I don't have to use a framework. I could certainly use just, I mean, I could use Jersey. Or I could use, I guess I could use the Java. I don't want to write my own server. It would have to be, it would be best if it was Spring or some other framework. So it's likely going to be Spring. And that'll also be a 4 or 5 minute breakout. I mean, the idea is to focus on so that Dr. Trapezzi green thread stuff is basically, yes. I mean, it's kind of funny because I was around when green threads were the thing. And so, yes, it basically is decoupling the thread object really from the operating system thread. Because realistically, you can't get more than like 3,000 or 4,000 operating system threads. And so then so up until Java 21, they are then a scarce resource, which is why you have all sorts of thread pooling mechanisms. And so it's like, okay, you get to run on this thread for a bit. You're blocked. Oh, well, that thread is now not doing anything useful. And so you have to figure out other ways to keep that valuable thread actually making progress. Virtual threads means you don't have to worry about that anymore. The Java will figure out how to schedule and map to real threads. And it is then just as optimal as if you manually did reactive continuations and things like that. Yeah, exactly. Um, I don't know, Lexley's uh if he's given that talk and it's been recorded. I'm not sure. I'll have to take a look. Um, remind me and ask me in the Discord, uh, and I'll see what I can find. Um, but the short answer is reactive is dead. Why? Because reactive is such an awkward programming model. Um, whereas if you can just say, well, if I block, Java will take care of it, and then I don't have to manage anything anymore. Hey, BDSL. Does doing HTMX mean you have a choice between TypeScript and JavaScript? I would say the idea of HTMX is you don't need even JavaScript at all. But if you want to write some JavaScript, that's totally fine. They're not incompatible. Once you get to TypeScript, then you start having build, some kind of build process. Um, which is still fine, because you end up with basically JavaScript. Um, so it's pretty much agnostic, but it it really depends on the complexity and what you're trying to do with the additional code that's going to be running in the browser. So it's a continuum. How much do you want? Um, like again, it's like what code would be you want to write in the browser? That's really the question. If it's doing a lot of work that the back end might be better to do. I mean, that's sort of the HTMX REST kind of thing, is that the back end is the place for state. But again, it's depends on the kind of app you're writing. Uh, let's see. Thread pools, tread pools. Yeah, I mean, so one of the main ideas with something like HTMX, and HTMX is not the only library. There's also I think it's Darkstar. There's a couple of others, but they're all in the same idea of like, let's just add attributes to elements in our HTML. Um, and let the JavaScript, let the HTMX library do stuff that you might manually write JavaScript for. To me, I think about it as, why are we returning JSON from APIs if the browser is going to then take that JSON and convert it into HTML? Why don't I just return HTML? Um, so that's to me the main thing. Where he says they should ban JavaScript. That's going to be hard, since that's what the browsers run on. I mean, I guess you could go to WebAssembly, but that's a whole separate thing. So Dr. Twitcheasy, the green threads were around. I think they disappeared well before 1.2. I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure by 1.1, I believe they were gone. And they had to write that. They had to originally start with not associating Java threads with operating system threads, because the operating systems, right, 1995, there weren't a lot of them. They couldn't support, I don't remember what the upper limit was, but it certainly was not what modern processors and operating systems can support. So there definitely was green threads, which essentially we have returned full circle back to, but much more powerful. But Definitely by 1.2 they're gone. I have a feeling they were gone even before that, but I'd have to look it up. Let's see. Oh, I was gonna open up another window here. Uh, where'd it go? There it is. I was looking for my Twitch stream manager, which seems to be locked up. Oh, look, I'm not even logged in. That shows you how long. Okay, so I feel like I missed something. Okay, I talked about that. Oh, I guess I could do this. Yeah, so Timeleaf or some other HTML template engine is going to be your friend. And if you've been watching, if you had watched my online TDD game stuff, which of course, as I said, I'll be picking up again next week. I am using HTMX. The HTML generation, though, I'm actually doing for the most part manually. I have not fully decided how much I want to do with Timeleaf versus just manually generating HTML in code. There's a certain tipping point where it's like this pieces of HTML is getting too complex to sort of do in plain old Java code, uh, especially since we don't yet have string interpolation. I don't know when that's going to come back, but it's gone for now. So either a Timeleaf, JTE is popular for some folks. I don't care for it. One of the nice things I like about Timeleaf is it's a natural template language. In other words, it's basically HTML, just with some decorations, so you can preview it much more easily. But so I haven't figured that out. Yes. So HGMX and that kind of thing are definitely meant for human consumption. If the consumer of your endpoint is another system, another machine, you're going to want it to be optimized for whatever that is. You could use JSON, but because it is easy to sort of debug, but it's very inefficient. But it's, it's easy. If it's actually RPC, and because it's not really REST, most of the time systems calling systems are RPC, not RESTful. Then you might look at like a gRPC kind of thing, or you're throwing stuff on a Kafka kind of thing, and then it's still being consumed by some other system. Yes, if we're going to ban software, let's start with JavaScript. Yeah, so certainly if it's going to be converted to HTML anyway, why not just return the HTML? I would I would and certainly it seems like that's getting more inroads into places that might have otherwise used a React or an Angular or a Vue or something like that. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly folks who are like, React is always the answer. Um, I'm not that person. Uh, I think it has its place, um, but it's one of those technologies that have become popular just because it's popular, as opposed to it being the right solution for the problems that people have. If you are doing a system that has a lot of state that needs to be tracked in your browser, very interactive, very deep UI, um, then React is likely appropriate. Uh, but if it's pretty much forms and you're looking at stuff and then pushing a button to see new stuff and change stuff, then you're going to be hitting the back end. And so instead of trying to sync up the front end state with the back end state, just let the back end hold on to the state and the front end is just a client. Yeah, TDD. So as much as I would like to do a session on TDD, uh, and I need to stop chatting so I can actually get these in. Uh, I'm not sure where it would fit. This is my problem. Um, I want to talk at conferences about TDD and all the things around that, which is like refactoring. Nobody cares. Conferences don't care. Most conferences could care less. Um, and I'm basing that on the fact that these talks that I'm submitting are not getting accepted. That's the only thing I can assume. Yes. So, um, yeah, Dan Vega has a good session on that, a good video on that. It's not that Timeleaf doesn't do enough. So the advantage of JTE, which is a Java template engine, is that it's faster in generating the HTML. I don't know how useful that is. It's a bit more type safe because it's not just doing sort of string search and replace. There's actually some compilable aspects. But honestly, I have not looked. I have not used JTE. But there's nothing wrong with Timeleaf. There's just overhead, um, and as with any of these template engines, there's a separation between the code that's generating things and the template. Yeah, I don't know how popular HTMX is with Rails. It's very popular with Django, and um, but I'm not sure how popular it is with Rails because Rails sort of already has its own way of doing things that I'm not sure. I'm not a Rails person. Yeah, I'm not sure until I play with JTE. I'm not really sure of the upsides because right now I only see downsides. I don't know. Chubate is awesome. I am very much anti-complexity. I am very much boring stuff, boring technologies, boring, straightforward, no microservices until you actually need it. Modular stuff for easy testability. That's all I care about. Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work for something like GitHub. I mean, GitHub will render the time leaf templates because they're just HTML, but I'm not sure how you'd integrate the two. Yeah, Java and Postgres are always the answer. What database do you need? Postgres. But I'm doing Postgres. But I also need Postgres. But what about JIT and Postgres? Postgres is always the answer. There's no need for any other database. Catching up on chat. So Eclipse has always had the ability for it basically used its own internal compiler. And so it could partially compile things and partially run things, even though the whole project wasn't compilable. But in 2024, I don't know why you would use anything other than IntelliJ. Yes and no. So as an example, the conference I was at last week, there was no talk on refactoring, not that I saw. There also was no talk explicitly on TDD, again, that I saw. And explicitly, my submissions were rejected because they were not, quote, on target for the conference. So I understand, like, conferences are interesting in that they, why go to a conference? What do you want to see? And so it's often the latest and greatest things, whether they're suitable or not. Conferences like QCon are notorious for, here's what multi tens and hundreds of millions of customers, here's what we do internally. So the Netflixes and the Ubers and the Airbnbs, here's what we're doing internally that, by the way, you should really not be doing because you don't have our scale. But people love those talks because people love complexity. That's the only conclusion I can make. And whereas I preach anti-complexity, and so I don't get talks accepted. Yes, Rails is definitely opinionated. That's for sure. Wait, what? No, not embrace complexity. Avoid complexity. What? No. HSQLDB? No. Postgres. Yeah, I mean, TDD, it certainly on the social medias, it's controversial. Because there are people who are just like, no, it's stupid, you shouldn't do it. It's wrong. It wastes time. Whatever. And I'm sure there are circumstances where that's true. And if that were just limited to TDD, I'd say fine, but like refactoring, I don't see much of either. All right, I'm caught up on chat. All right, so I gotta submit the talks that I don't have to think a lot about. So let me get those in, because the last thing I want to do is not have anything submitted, because then I definitely won't have any talks accepted. So let me go find where I put my talks. It's not there. Dang it, where is that talk? Okay, so I don't know why that's not on my so let's see. My assert J talk. Um, best practice on writing entity classes? No. The best practice on writing entity classes is I don't know, like just use event sourcing and then you don't need them. Okay, so let's see what we need for right. So which track would assert J go into? So clearly not this one. And clearly not the first. So it's probably this one. So this is my assert J talk. Just thinking, do I want to try and make that a workshop? I think I'll go with a breakout. Yeah, so I think it certainly fits this, right? Because this mentions, where is it? Testing. It's very much related to continuous integration tools. And it enhances Java applications. Yeah, so certainly enhancing it. I think this is the closest one. Okay. So where did I put my right? All right, so let's go and submit. Okay, organization name. Content type, breakout session. Title. I am terrible with titles. I'm just terrible with titles. I'm open to better titles, but that's what I've got. What else? Abstract. let me actually abstract. Let's see. I don't have so what are those submission notes? So abstract, use present tense. So I'm allowed to use third person, right? Yeah, I think that's a bit too cheeky. Not that kind of relationship. Relationship to Oracle, complicated. Uh, yeah, except it's not one little trick, it's like 25 little tricks. Um, so let's see. I think that fits. I don't know about that. I mean, I can see that not using first person helps you write an abstract that is sort of thinking about other people. Um, like if I read an abstract and there's a lot of I did this or we did this, it can feel very a little bit unfriendly, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I think this is gonna so my hope is that this is gonna be different from previous years. So I was talking to one of the folks from Oracle, Shar, at the Dev to Next conference. So I'm if and this is sort of the problem with procrastinating waiting until the last minute is had I done this last week, I could have gotten some feedback from Shar, although he's been busy. But all I can do is my best, right? All right, so let's grab this. One thing I've learned about filling out forms like this is write it somewhere else and then copy paste because it said it was going to time out, and I'm not sure if I've already exceeded the timeout. And look, I'm over. Uh, just take that out. And I'll take that out. Okay. So how about that? Easy JUnit testing. We like easy. Thanks for that, BDSL. All right, so I copy and paste this. Tempting. JUnit testing made easy. I could do that. That's a little bit of a callback. I'll think about that. I mean, I love that this is allowing 1,000 characters, but only shows 3 lines. So it's like, and they must have overridden something because usually you're allowed to drag the corner and expand a text area. They must have overridden something. Why do I really like assert J as opposed to what? So most folks, if you're not using assert J, you're likely just using the built-in JUnit assertions. I mean, the core is readable tests that are easy to read and write. Yeah, so that's the back to the title thing. And I think that's where the readability comes in. But titles are a funny thing. Because they're what people mainly see when they're trying to pick out things, and those are I mean, they're the headlines. Um, I mean, I could say maintainable testing. That I don't know. I'm fine with adding it here, which is good. I'm just not sure it works as a title. I could say made easier, but it's I agree that easy is like, what does that mean? Um, and that's why I sort of started out with, uh, uh, what did I originally have? Um, something like that. I could focus on the maintainable aspect. Um, yeah, I think assert true is definitely harder to maintain and not as readable. Um, so I guess it's, do I use easier or do I talk about easy to write and read? No, it's talking about that they reserve the right to edit whatever you do, and so whatever they have put through their editing process, that will be published in the conference material. Um, level up is not bad. All right. That's what I've got. Yes, you get one you I will distribute 100% of uh, any profit from this talk. I don't believe they give you any money for this. So let's see. Audience level is so funny. but it's definitely beginner. Uh, Back end, I don't know. Sure, sure. Why not? I don't know. Uh, I just know when I hit submit, it's gonna say I've timed out, but we'll see. So what I say the primary track was, the why is this in a different order? This is these are so you can't see the pop-up, but they're in a different order from what's on the other page. And secondary track, what would a secondary track be? I don't think there is a secondary track. Yeah, there is no secondary track for this. Oh, I didn't think I'd have to have an elevator pitch. Oy. Yeah, it's not even in alphabetical order, the pop-up here. Um, Whatever. Have I done this talk and had it recorded? Is this required to be on the topic? Did I do? Well, to show you how thoroughly unprepared I am, I don't think I have a video recording of this talk that is uploaded. I do have the raw video when I did this as a webinar. Boy, this is going to be an issue for all these talks. I don't think I'll have a video for any of them. Um, I don't know that I gave the Assert J talk to any online meetup. I did it as a webinar a little over, actually, I guess over a year ago by now. Yes, I did this at this KCDC, but it wasn't recorded. So I could give them the slides, but well, again, this is what happens when you do things at the last minute. If I'd done this last week, I could have done a short intro video. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't have to, but obviously it would improve my chances, if I had a video. Alright, so what's my elevator pitch? How many floors in this building? Um, yeah, if I had more time, I'd make a video. I have less than 2 hours to get this in because the CFP closes at 5 my time. Um, I think this is one of those, if I have time, I'll do that. But my concern is, I still got other papers I wanna submit. But I will totally do that if I have time. Not a dumb question. Some people like to just share knowledge, and some people wanna, make themselves, more known, uh, for whatever reason that might be. I fall into the both categories. I like sharing stuff, but I also would like to be known so that I can get consulting or training. You certainly will not make money in general unless you're a well-known speaker. You will not make money by speaking, which is also cute. Everybody gets free food at a conference. You at least get, I mean, depending on the conference, you will get, it's not true for all conferences, but 95 out of 100, you will get free entrance to the conference. So there's that. Um, and so if you're in the conferences have free food. Often they have a speaker dinner, so there's an extra meal that you will get. Um, so few will pay for travel, and even fewer will pay some kind of honorarium on top of that. The conferences I've spoken at, like KCDC covered a couple of nights of hotel, but did not cover travel, or any other expenses. Another conference, um, gave an honorarium, which did not come close to covering travel expenses. Uh, Deb to Next, which I did not get accepted to, is one of the few that covered everything, which is why it was so much money. And then there are developer relations folks, and so it's their job to speak at conferences. Um, that's a job I would like, but do not have. After party. There's some depends on the conference, but if you're speaking at the conference, you're in the conference, and so you get to join in on all the good stuff. Uh, yes, the conference is the party, depending on the conference. All right. All right. Um, that's a really good question. I think what it does, I mean, what is BDD, right? If it's making it such that non-developers are more likely to be able to read it, then absolutely, uh, this is this gives you that, especially when you have the ability to customize the assertions to use more of the domain language. Yeah, I mean, it's like what it to me, BDD is always the way I think about it is it's where you start from the outside, right? Whatever the edge of your system is, um, that's sort of, you know, when you talk to business people, they think about what is the system? How do I interact with it? Um, TDD, then it's basically to me, then TDD is sort of any level. I mean, it doesn't require advanced knowledge, but I think it requires um, it's certainly a more advanced feature. Uh, but I don't think it's intermediate in that it requires you to understand more deeply about like Java or something like that. I don't know. The whole levels thing is like it's like it depends on like it's the whole right in a job listing, an experience level. It's like you must have 3+ years or 5+ years. Like, what does that mean? Like, you might have 3 years and have really good experience, and you might have 5 years and been doing the same thing day in day out. I, I mean, it's basically what I expect um, someone who's familiar with Java, who has some experience. Would I expect them to be able to read and understand even the customized assertions? And I think, of course, uh, yeah, that may or may not be your fault. All right. Uh, I guess that's it for here. Let's see if the page is timed out. Let me grab this. Hey, did it time out? What happened? Did I miss something? It must have timed out, is the only thing I can figure. Yeah, I timed out. Yep. Um, boy, they can't even do the timeout properly. All right. Yes, we saved everything. See, that's why we do that. Breakout session. That. good enough. Beginner, back end, framework, open source, quality and testing. I'm not going to check enterprise architect. That was actually just me joking. Application tooling, elevator pitch. I do not have either. I might later. Add presenter. Um, yeah. Because they're saving a session somewhere and that session object times out. That's why. Yeah, that'll go over big. Well, I am an enterprise architect, but the people in the audience do not need to be an enterprise architect. Oops. Like there all these things where it's like I'm afraid of putting an ampersand in. Is that going to get rejected? Twitter handle is BitterTed. San Francisco Jug. Not yet. Someday, perhaps. This makes me very sad because if you look at all these conferences, only like maybe 3 of them are in the US. What was other? ACDC. I'm blanking on the other conferences I've spoken at. It's been a while. I missed something. Oh, speaker bio. Yeah, don't get me started. Full name, folks, full name. Yeah, that's why they don't write anything. All right, let me grab my bio. Nope, not from there. All right. Well, I guess, since he's the chairperson, hopefully that will bump me up a bit. Yes, but not conferences. I've done a bunch of meetups, online, but not did I do any online conferences? I don't think so. I got accepted to a bunch before COVID, um, but then nobody wants me back. I don't know. Ted Young talk. You might find, there's a Ruby person, Ted Young, I think works for Lightstep. Um, that's the other Ted. Yeah, I agree. That's what they're asking for. All right. All right. So that's one talk. I'm going to take a quick break, get something to drink, and then we'll look at the next talk. I don't remember what the next one I want to work on is. Probably the event sourcing one. All right. So I'll be right back. Let's do this. All right. Every time I watch that video, it's like, oh, I want to go make some coffee, but it's too late in the afternoon for coffee. Yes, all of my talks are TED Talks. I have no idea. It's all stock video stuff. There is if I want to get to sleep at night. All right. So next talk. Um, I think the event sourcing one is next. Is there another talk I want to consider? Like my refactoring talk or my primitive obsession talk. I think they're just too narrowly focused. So I think the event sourcing is where we're going to go. Um, if I have time, I'll do this one. Oops. All right. So, what do I need? Um, I've stopped second guessing conference folks. Yes, I'll stick in the I. It could be. I just don't. The feedback I get every time I submit those talks is not appropriate for this conference. Too narrow, too like I don't think they understand what it is. Um, if I have time, maybe I'll submit it as a workshop. I'm just uh, pessimistic that it would be accepted. All right, so here, what we need is an abstract and then an elevator pitch. What else do we need? Sorry, not that long ago, it was 100 degrees, which is, of course, very hot for the well, for anywhere, but certainly for the Bay Area. And now it's like I'm cold. It's either that or we're sorry, this talk is not interesting because it's not complex enough, right? It goes back to that. There's not enough complexity in this talk. All right. Okay, so this is interesting. So I'm just rereading this. This says introductory. That's not what the radio button says. So this says designed for audiences that have little or no familiarity with this specific topic. So does that mean the search A is intermediate because they have moderate familiarity? I don't know. I still think it's introductory. Um, and I won't have time in a 45-minute session. I won't have time to go deep into creating custom ones. I'll basically show it, but I won't go too deep into like, here's how you write it from scratch, which is what I've done before. Um, did my bio have enough information about my prior speaking experience? I have to go look at that. Yeah, I mean, it requires no knowledge about a search A because I start out with comparing assert true and assert equals to assert J and then start building from there. So it doesn't require knowledge about assert J. It does require knowledge about JUnit, but if you have no knowledge about JUnit, go to another session. Oh, ArcUnit was the other one that I wanted to do. That'll probably go on the same track though. All right. So okay, there we go. Yeah, that'll go over big. Um, okay, that was a confusing page. Okay, so what do I need? Title, abstract, elevator pitch. Is this good enough for the title? I feel like it should be something about I want to put modern Java up front. I can't think of anything better. Like, I could say event sourcing made easy. Um, yeah, right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking is modern Java or something like something like that. So what would the past tense of this? Uh, yeah, okay. Um, what else do I use? Let's look at the JEPs. Let's see how many JEPs we can pull in. Oops, open jk.org, JEPs. Actually, I should probably look at the releases. What was in how can I stick in as many features as possible? Um, so primitive types in patterns. Most of these are previews. They basically fall under pattern matching. Uh, record patterns? Record patterns, not just records. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else. That's enough features. I was thinking of sticking in the word how in front of it. Um, do I stick in a how here? I don't want to say features of because I think that's fairly obvious. A lot of the talks I've seen at conferences kind of use modern Java to indicate, well, sometimes indicate anything past Java 8, which is sad because that's 10 years old. Um, yeah, so does the, whoops, that was weird. So does the how sort of weaken the title? It feels like it does, but I'm not sure. I'm open to opinions. Thank you. Oh, that's what your Mavic features of. Um, that's kind of how I feel, no pun intended, but OA has a different opinion. I might have to flip a coin. See, I want to say we here, like we will look at or something like that, but we can't have we. Um, Yeah, that's basically where I'm going. Yeah, I'm still undecided. That yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is like SEO stuffing. Like, how many buzzwords from Java can I stuff in? Because I realized I also use unnamed variables, but that feels like a much lesser feature, and I'm not sure I want to. I need to call that out. I'm laughing at this. Yeah. um, I have to admit, I the how true like sadly it's I'm not going to go there. It's true though. Well, okay, so this is something that I've been toying with for a while, and I did it with the Assert J one. Is I just did not finish editing it, so that's why it's not up on YouTube. Uh, Whether these talks are accepted or not, I'll be doing sort of webinar-like presentations on these. I may try to get it into some meetups, but if not, then I will do it on my own. I have my own channel. I can do that. Um, so either way, you will see these. Um, I don't know what my elevator pitch is. I feel like the abstract says it. Yeah, seriously, what's wrong with you? Uh, I don't know what my elevator pitch is. I feel like my abstract. I don't know. I'm blanking here. Likely my TDD game, um, or the blackjack game. One of the two, since I don't have to decide anytime soon. Uh, one of those two. Technically, the blackjack game is not a real world application, although it's pretty sophisticated, and does the event sourcing. But probably the TDD game is the more likely one. Yeah. So really, the pattern matching. I mean, all these the seal classes, record patterns, pattern matching, switch expressions. Those you basically it's really interesting because it sort of moves towards what people are calling data oriented programming, because you're not creating a bunch of objects with self-contained behavior and you get more on the side of like a visitor pattern. You basically have a switch expression, which is sort of looked down upon by purists, but I think it's appropriate. Yes, if it's from my TDD game, we'll get that in there. You can take the TED out of TDD, but then you're not left with anything or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, and there's also a book, and there was a bunch of talks on the topic. Yeah, InfoQ has often has some good stuff, and this is one of the things that yeah. Um, not sure what what to write here. It's not an elevator pitch. That's more notes. I don't have an elevator pitch for this. Um, because Ted is a great speaker. I don't know. Sounds good. Oh my. So Tukes is talking about Rails and Laravel. Um, I will say that there isn't one sort of out of the box, here's a solid experience that can make it that you can make applications of a certain type really fast. Ruby Rails, um, Laravel, I think those do a better job than anything in the Java area right now. Um, if you're writing backend API, non, not directly generating HTML kinds of things, Spring Boot is great. I do think that going forward, we'll see um, we'll start to see some things fit into Spring. There's already a few things. Thomas Shuley has Vue components, and there's some other things. I think it's going to take a little while for it to shake out. Uh, I There's JHipster, which tries to be sort of Rails like ish, um, but I think there is a case to be said that there's a lot more. There's still more boilerplate or um, lots more decisions to make in the Java Spring Boot world. Vaadin might also help in the front end, but we'll see. All right, Lexlers, get back to stuff. I'll see you around. Yeah, I don't know that Play was, because Play was still mostly a back-end framework. There used to be Grails, which was Groovy on and Java. And again, JHipster tries to do some of that, but not really. There is no framework for event sourcing, at least not that I found that doesn't try to take over. I mean, like there are aspects of it that could just be a lot. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's Axon. I think that's overkill and really tries to do way more than, and in a way that I find actually difficult to approach. I don't know. I'd have to implement a bunch more event sourced applications to see if there's need for something like that. I don't know. I agree. I still think there are places where switch statements, switching over types, um, I struggle with this because I think there's some places where uh, you've got switch statements all over the place. That's not great. And why isn't that behavior inside the object? So again, it's sort of one of those. It depends, right? Um, and so like I do bristle at like data oriented because I think like we've given up on OO. We're not going to have people try to do it correctly anymore. I don't know. That's what it feels a little bit like. Yeah, I'm as I was saying, it's like I don't think I've done enough to see what are the commonalities that could be pulled out where that would be useful. as opposed to onerous. Yeah, maybe I'll say it that way. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I mean, the active record pattern, like Ruby Rails made that super popular. And for certain types of applications, you can get from zero to a deployed application that does what you need it to do really quickly. Um, and then what? As it gets more complicated, as there's more behavior, that's where it starts to break down. Yeah, I think the patterns here in implementing it are our first step. Um, as I said, I have to implement more applications to see what the commonalities that could be pulled out would be. But I'm always like adopting a framework. Um, it's like adopting a pet. It's a lot of work, and you know it restricts you. Like you can't travel the world if you have a pet. Actually, I'm going to leave that. You can train them pretty well, but I'm not sure that's testing. All right, let's get this in there. Um, I think I'm going to leave out the how. See what happens. I'm going to go against my inclination. Um, uh, is this beginner or intermediate? Yeah. All right. Thanks for stopping by. Nice to see you. I'm going to leave it as intro because I don't. Maybe I'll mark that as intermediate. Yeah. Because I feel like just conceptually, it feels like it's an intermediate. Back end, framework developer. These categories are just weird. Uh, we said core Java, right? Yeah. What would the secondary track be? Uh, uh, because because I'm a great guy. That's why. It's so weird that it pops that thing up again. And I'm very frustrated about this. I might have to go in and add that middle initial. Um, all right, 2 down. Um, what next? Oh, look, a typo. How could you have a typo? Like, isn't this something where like you have to get 5 rounds of approval before anything gets pushed out to the website? I'm sure it's some content management system, but somebody just typoed it. Um, all right. So what talk do I want to do next? I'm feeling like this one is just so like HTML framework, Spring Framework centric that it doesn't really fit the conference. So how about this one? Hmm. Yeah, or something. Yeah. I mean, especially since like, as much as I am deeply not uncomfortable, but it's another word that I'm not thinking of. Conflicted about AI. I think that's a good use for a more advanced spell checker that might use some large language models or even small language models. All right, Sweegie, wish me luck. Yes, I'll see you at the Software Crafters Unconference tomorrow. Have a good night. Um, yeah, that's a whole other thing. It's more the grammar aspect. So like the word could be spelled correctly, but it's the wrong word. That happens a lot. There. two and two and two. So all the homonyms, all the words that sound alike that are just the wrong word. And other times, just like you dropped a word, you repeated a word, all those kinds of things. Uh, and it doesn't necessarily have to be quote, AI or even an LLM, but some kind of something more than just is this word in my dictionary. Yes, if the software crafters unconference, if you're not, I think I posted it in the announcements channel. Uh, let's copy link. Uh, so this conference is it's online, but it uses this actually really nice interface to sort of make it easier to be social. Um, so you can still sign up for it. Starts very early my time, which is 7 a.m. So I got to get up early. But yeah. All right. So the question is, and I've been to a couple of previous versions of that unconference online thing. It's fun. And ultimately, it's still Zoom or whatever. But all right. So um, all right. So let's see what we can do with this. So we need an abstract. Yeah, it's funny. It's like Zoom was, I think it's still, in my experience, the most reliable. But like now, everything it's been infected with AI that just, and also what happens to companies is they have to expand. And so they expand into all sorts of stuff that I don't care about and not fixing the certain things that uh, sort of blanking on so many words today. But sort of like the livability, the and the usability. Uh, it's kind of a mess. It Since it's going to be a 45-minute talk, I think it's going to be, let's start out um, with a little bit of that, like what is architecture, and why would you want to enforce it using a tool? Um, so I guess Yes, but I think mostly it's about the tool itself. Yeah, no, I didn't, and it makes me sad. Um, um, oh, I forgot to thank Luigi for his resubscription. I just saw that. Oops. Uh, yeah, I wish there was, like, audio mixing capabilities, period. Like, I've been in many, Zooms where some people are louder than others, and it'd be nice to be able to level that across it. And having full duplex across multiple people, I don't know. I mean, it's probably a hard problem, but it makes for much more awkward online meetings and such. Being able to have side conversations is also really nice and something that, again, you don't get with online that you only get in real life. Chat sort of makes up for that, but it's not quite the same thing. It still surprises me uh, that maybe surprise is the wrong word. I think people don't understand how our tools have shaped how we interact with each other, um, versus being sort of physically co-located. Yeah, Zoom has breakout rooms, but it's very awkward. Like you want, I mean, I'm basically thinking like in a real co-located, everyone in the same physical place, I can go, did he say just what I thought he said? Um, and it doesn't disturb everyone and not everybody hears it. And you don't have to explicitly like tap on somebody and let's go into the next room. I make a comment and we come back. Like that sort of easy flow is lost. And just sort of that overall flow is lost in online meetings because it's far too easy to step over people, all sorts of stuff. It's all awkward, and I just think there's not enough focus on it. Like, there's all these focuses on AI and other crap that we actually don't need, or it's not as important as how do we make online group discussion as close to being physically there as possible. Now, what's interesting, and this is totally a tangent, um, there are tools for musicians to collaborate online, and you don't have those problems because they're designed to be ultra real time and being able to hear everybody else at the same time. Um, and like, can we take that technology and put them into the more mainstream tools? Yeah. Anyway, let's see if I can get this pitch in. Um, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that could be improved. But I think there's just so much more that could be done in sort of making the core features just more better. Always looking for donuts. Donuts are a valid investment. Do I have a 1,000 word limit? No, I don't think I have I have a 1,000 character limit. Um, 1,000 words. That's like a full blog post or a reasonably lengthy blog post. Okay. Um, it's only 270. I got a ways to go. Uh, yeah, it's like, are those 1,000 Unicode characters? Can I answer to emojis? I maybe, I don't know. I'm not gonna try. Did I misspell argument? Uh, I need a I need a word that is not first person. I want to say like we will something, but I can't. Uh, Linux. Yeah, Arc Linux not completely different. Yeah, totally different. I want to say we'll also look at, but I can't say we. Uh, it's like you gotta write active voice, um, present tense, but no first person pronouns. Yeah, that's basically it's like I'll flip it around. You will. Um, uh, well, it doesn't have to be active voice, but it has to be present tense, and they tend to go together. Hey Durham, it is not complete yet. It is one of the things that I will be now that I'm back in gear, that I will be starting to add on to over the next month or so. Um, Damn it, there's this library that I keep forgetting the name of because it's such a weird name. And every time I have to try and find the library, I can never remember what the heck it is. Um, excuse me? That's interesting. There it is. So the library is Taikai. Like I'm all in favor of creating libraries and languages and ecosystems and frameworks with names that are easily searchable. but for the life of me, I can never remember this name. I talk about it a lot, and every single time I have to look it up. Yeah, that's the flip side of it. It's like, let's create a language called Go. You'll never be able to find anything. Anyway, that's a separate rant. All right. Um, did I give a talk on this specifically? I know I include it in my hexagonal architecture talk briefly. Actually, I don't know if I've done it in my meetup talk. Um, yeah, I don't think so. All right, good enough. This will be my last submission. I feel like the abstract's too short. Open source framework, backend, enterprise architect. Yeah, thanks. Keep telling me that. Just checking through chat. Okay. uh, track that and that. I will give them a link to my. Okay. um, no, so I was just thinking because like, have I ever done that? But um, no, because ArcUnit is already a Fluent API. Um, I think there is a place where using some of AssertJ's capabilities would improve things, but um, no, they're really different different things. Like they're both like ArcUnit is fairly self-contained. Um, yeah, but that's a really interesting question. All right. All right, that's it. 3 talks submitted. Um, compared to what? Oh, interesting. Yeah. And there are these so ArcUnit either something pretty much ported or similar types of tools are available for other languages. I don't know if there's one for the JavaScript ecosystem. I know this is for .NET actually. That there are at least 2 for .NET. Uh, I don't know if there's anything like that. You weren't asking about that, but I thought I'd mention it. All right. Well, that took up all the time I really kind of had allotted for my stream today. Thank you. Um, so I guess we'll see how this goes. Uh, lesson learned for the umpteenth time. Probably good to take a look at the proposal submission process. Um, like before the last minute, because the the mistake I made here clearly was not having videos prepared. Um, because I think that would where, seeing me do presentations, I think is a good, I think makes it more likely that somebody would want to see me speak. But that's what happens. I don't, because I basically backed out. I had gotten my talk accepted, and I basically said, "You with your new format, I'm not going to fly to Las Vegas on my own dime, stay there on my own dime." Um, who says on your own dime anymore? Uh, Like, I'm not going to pay to fly to Las Vegas and stay there and give a session to 30 people for 30 minutes, because that's what happened. Basically, they switched it so it was that part of the conference was basically virtual. It was this weird mix of, well, if people happen to be here for VMware, we'll have, basically a track in a sense for spring, and some people can come by. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's not that's that's not worth it. If they paid me to come, I absolutely would have done it, but I'm not going to spend $1,500 to speak for 30 minutes. Oh, Salesforce code base. Yikes. Or Apex. Apex with JavaScript? Oh, I think I don't want to know anymore. Which one was that? Like, I'm fine. Like, I mean, when I presented at KCDC, yes, they paid for 2 nights at the hotel, but that's it. I was happy to do that because I basically gave 2 talks. Um, and that's totally worth it. Would have been nicer if they'd been recorded, um, but I gave 2 talks. Um, Agile and Beyond, uh, I gave 2 talks, and I also know the organizer, and so they paid a little bit of an honorarium, but I paid my own way in. I'd rather not do that, but I'm happy to do that if I'm giving, like, full talks, preferably 2 of them. Um, but it's also like, who else is gonna be there and who else is giving talks? Because it's all also about, like, I paid last week I went to Dev2Next. I didn't speak at all. Paid my own way, the whole thing, and it was totally worth it, because there was a lot of really good speakers there. But when they did the switch of the format for the spring thing, um, a bunch of people, dropped out, and it wasn't sort of dense enough to make it work it. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that talk. This conference isn't appropriate for it, but there's some um, conferences that just open their call for papers. Devox. I'd love to speak at Devox. There's a Devox Antwerp going on right now, or maybe just ended. Um, and I'm definitely suffering from FOMO. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. All right. I think that's it for today. I was going to go look at the plugin, but I'm like, my brain's a little fried. And oh my God, I've been going for 3 hours anyway. Uh, so, if you're not part of the Discord, if you haven't joined the Discord, please join the Discord. My next stream will likely be Monday, I think. What's my calendar say? Yes, Monday. I don't think I conflict with the Mets game. I think Monday or Tuesday. Let's go look. Let's go Mets. Let's go look at the Mets schedule. Um, Ooh, so who's it going to be? Is it going to be the Cleveland Guardians or the Detroit Tigers? I'm rooting for the Tigers. Dan Vega's going to kill me because he's from Cleveland. But I'm rooting for the Tigers. So what's the schedule? Monday's the 14th. Okay, I'm not streaming Monday because this is a 1 p.m. game. So I'm not streaming Monday, but I'll stream Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those will be streaming days. And other than some time in November, I'm hoping to get back to a full streaming schedule of multiple streams per week. And Mike Rizzi and I will also be picking up the song themes pairing stream. So stay tuned for that. And that's it. It was great seeing you all. Appreciate all the support. It's been a rough few months, but things are looking better. And yeah, join the Discord. Book clubs are resuming, so a bunch of things are getting back into gear. That's it. I will see you folks next week or on the Discord. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Stay safe if you're in a weather crisis area. Otherwise, bye. Where is the outro stream?